You will need to keep your ribbon handy, though. So we're going to start with the base, with our page bases. You will need 1 4.5 by 6 1/8, 1 4.5 by 6 5/8, 1 4.5 by 7 1/8, and 1 4.5 by 7 this should be 7 5/8. Let me fix that really quick here. Okay. So they should be waterfalled with 1/2 inch in between. Going to grab our scoreboards out, and each page is going to be the same. So you want the larger measurement on the top, and you're going to score at 3/8 and 5/8. That's going to be for every page. So 3/8 and 5/8. And we're just going to fold and burnish on all these score marks. And you want to be careful when you're burnishing these. You want to make sure that you are getting the full measurement and not folding in the middle of one of your scores. So just take your time and finish all 4 of your pages. Okay. So you're going to want to get these in order from the smallest to the largest. You're going to start with page 1. And here we go. You want, for page 1, you want 1, 3, 5. So we're going to start with page 1, and you want a piece that is 5.5 by 3. I'm going to grab my piece here, my prototype, so let's see what I'm doing. I'm going to score on 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So starting with 5.5 at the top, you're going to score a 1/2. Flip it around. 1/2. Flip it around one more time. And 1/2. And then you're just going to burnish all sides. What I like to do is line up my pocket where I'm going to put it, and that helps me figure out if it's big enough or not. My score marks are. And then you're going to take your scissors, miter the top 2 corners, and then miter out the bottom 2 squares. So then it'll look like this. And if you want, you can use a notch punch or a circle punch to punch a little notch on the top of your pocket, like here. With this one, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So I'm going to grab some score tape and put it on all 3 tabs. And then we need our smallest page, and we're going to start with the bottom tab. So I'm just going to fold my my tab and my gusset to the back, so that I just have the page. And then I'm going to line my pocket up to the bottom of the page and stick it down, just like that. I'm going to open my pocket up and have some Scotch tape here. I'm just going to stick the Scotch tape right on the tab like that. And then we can stick down the 2 side tabs. Just like that. Page 1 is done. For page 2, you will need a piece that is 4 by 4.5. So with the 4 at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. So we're just going to burnish our tab and miter the corners. Gonna add a little squirt tape real quick. We're gonna grab our page, and this time, so we're gonna flip it with the pocket on the bottom, and our flap is gonna go on the top edge of the page. So you have your 2 tabs down here, it's gonna go right here. So I'm just going to line up my flap to the top of my page, just like this, and burnish. And then I'm going to grab some magnets, and we're going to put one on our flap, one on our flap towards the edge of the flap. And then I'm going to put score tape. I'm going to check to see where the magnetize is. And then I'm going to put score tape on the top with the sticky side up. And then I'm going to stick my magnet on top of that. And then I can close my flap and stick my score tape on my page. Just like that. Now I have a little bit of sticky left. So I'm just going to take some of my extra score tape backing and just kind of maybe stick it on there. Just to make sure that my flap doesn't stick to my page. So that is pages 1 and 2 done. Just set that off to the side. And go on to page 3. You will need a piece that is 1.5 by 7 for this page. With a 7 inches at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 and at 6.5. We're just going to burnish both sides and miter all 4 corners. Like this. And then score tape, because it's our best friend. And then we're going to get the second page. And again, I'm just going to fold the two bottom tabs to the back so that we can just work with the page. And then I'm going to center this on my mat. Scoot this down a little bit. And then add glue to just one tab for now. And then you're just going to center this on the page, making sure to line it up with the top of the page. Just like this. Oops. I'm just gonna burnish that really good. Make sure that it doesn't come up again. And then we're gonna switch to the bottom of the page. And we're going to do the same thing. So center it on my mat and center my belly band on the bottom edge of my page. There. Now, if you have issues with sliding your pattern paper underneath your belly band when it's on top of your page, you can put pattern paper on your page first and then your belly band. But I don't have any issues, and I find that putting the paper on top of the tabs of my belly band keeps the belly band on top of my page a little bit better. But either way works. Page 4. You will need a piece that is 2 by 7. And we are going to score that on 3 sides, a 1/2 inch. So starting at the 7-inch side, you're going to score it half, flip it around, score it half, flip it around one more time, score it half. And then we're just going to fold and burnish on all 3 sides. I'm going to check real quick. And then we're just going to cut or miter the 2 corners and miter the 2 bottom squares out. Just like that. So grab your page, your second page, and we're going to flip it like this. And you want your 2 tabs on your right side. And then again, we are going to work with just the bottom tab for now of our pocket. And we're going to stick the bottom tab on the top here. So we're going to stick it here. Our tabs are right here. So just line it up with the top, making sure that you can still bend the 2 side tabs here. And then just stick it down. And then we're just going to take some score tape here, or not score tape, Scotch tape, And I got a little bit more than needed, so I'm just gonna trim a little bit off. And then we can stick our 2 side tabs down. Just like so. Now we have our second page done. Second and third pages. Page 5. We need a piece that is 4.5 by 6 3/8, and a piece that is 5 3/4 by 6 3/8. So grab your scoreboards out, and we are going to score them the same way. So you want the 6 3/8 inches at the top, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 3.5. So again, with the 6 3/8 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 3.5. We're going to burnish all our score marks. And miter the corners on the 1/2 inch tabs. And then just to prep it, I'm going to add score tape to my 2 tabs really quick. Going to grab some score tape for the next part. Going to be working with our ribbon. So I'm going to cut probably, again, 16 inches. You can go anywhere from 12 to 16 inches. I just like cutting 16 inches just to be on the safe side. And then we're going to grab our next page, and we're going to find the center of the sides, because we want to attach our two pieces of ribbon to either side. So once you get your ribbon on, your page will look like this. You'll have ribbon on your two sides. Going to stay like this, and you want your tab to be over here. So I'm going to center this again, and we want the longer of the two, so the 5 3/4. And making sure that our tab is on the right side. We are going to attach our 5 3/4 flap, accordion flap, to the top, and you want to center it as best as you can. So you have your flap here, and then your two tabs are down here. So now we're going to flip to the other side, making sure your tabs are on the left now, left this time, and you're going to grab your other accordion flap, and you want to stick this one on the other side, centering it on the page. Just like that. So once you have both sides, you have your tab down here, and then you have your larger accordion flap on this side and your smaller flap on this side. And then you can close them and tie your ribbon to keep everything closed. Maybe. If I can tie a bow. There we go. Just like this. So, page 6. You need one 3.5 by 3.5 inch piece. And we are going to score on, we're going to score 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Just like that. And then you want to take your paper trimmer and you want to line the diagonals on your cut line and cut from corner to corner. So when you get those cut, you will have 2 triangles. And then you're just going to burnish these first. And then I like to go to the back of this and then find where my tab doesn't show anymore. Hold my scissors where that is and then just cut like that. So then your tab doesn't show past the cut of your corner piece. And then you're just going to miter cut the square out so that it looks like this. You're going to do that to both pieces. And for pattern paper, you need a square that is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, and then you could just cut that diagonally like we did with this piece. So I'm just going to add score tape again. And then we are going to grab our page, flip it around, and then you'll want your page tab to be on the top. And I'm just untying my ribbon to keep make it a little flatter, so that's easier for me to do this part. And I am going to take both sides off this time. Add glue. Just going to stick the 2 sides down together. And then I'm just going to line this up against the side and against the score mark of my gusset here, making sure that lines up. And I'm going to stick it down. And I'm going to put the next one on the opposite corner. I'm going to flip this around and then stick both sides together and then just line the edges of my corner up with the page like that. And that is pages 5 and 6. We have one more page to do. Page 8 is just a blank mat page. So for page 7, you need a piece that is 2.5 by 4.5 and a piece that is 3.5 by 5.5. So you just need to score the 2.5 by 4.5 with the 2.5 at the top, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch. I'm just going to burnish this really good and miter the 2 corners. And I'm going to grab my trusty score tape and add a little bit of it on my tab here. For this part, you will need some pattern paper. First, I'm going to attach my flap to the top of my page. I'm just going to line it up with the top and the sides, just like this. And now you want to add pattern paper to the front of your flap and the back of your mat. Before you add pattern paper to the back of your mat, you will need to add a magnet. So just add your magnet close to the bottom of the mat. And then stick it down with score tape or whatever you like to use for that part. And then now you can cover the back of your mat and then cover the front of your flap. Okay, I have my 2 pieces covered, and making sure that my magnet is at the bottom of my page, I'm going to line this up, and the bottom and the top are going to be 3/4 of an inch, and then the sides are going to be 1/2 an inch. So I'm going to use my ruler here. I'm going to line it up with my page, and then line my mat up where I want it. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to put my fingers where it meets the flap, and then I can put glue at this top part here. And I'm going to line everything back up. And then stick this right on my flap. Just like so. And then grab another magnet. And stick it onto the page. As I said, page 8 is just a mat, so there's nothing to add there. And now it is time to add our pages to our album. So I'm going to start with adding paper to the base of my album here. So you will need a piece that is 1 7/8 by 4 7/8 if you're going to cover the base. And yes, okay. Mama's almost done. Can wait for just a little bit longer. So choose which side you want to be the front, and we're going to start with page 1. And the spacing is 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to line up my ruler, the edge of my paper, and then take my first page and center it on the base 3/8 of an inch away from the edge, just like this. Second piece, you want to line it up against the tab of the first one. And we're just sticking down the 3/8 inch tabs. We're leaving the 1/4 inch tab, the 1/4 inch gusses alone. That helps with moving the pages. Page 3. Going to put it up against the previous one, just like so. And then they get something got messed up here. So I'm just going to line up my ruler along the edge of my pattern paper, and with the last page you want to put the tab on top of the previous one. So you want it like this. Because then you see pattern paper on both sides. So once it's done, you'll have a nice little folio, little album with nice little pages. And these are all L-hinge, so it's pretty sturdy, and they're all graduated. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have fun making your own, and I will see you next week. Bye!